One of the most powerful things about virtual reality is its ability to take us away from the everyday world to places we never could have imagined. Through a genius blend of software and hardware, our headsets let us virtually step foot into digital landscapes far removed from our own reality. Sometimes, this can be a fantastical dreamscape filled with sights and sounds that seem light years away from our ordinary lives. Other times, though, VR can take us to places we'd never want to go, even the darkest parts of our own reality. With Oppenheimer currently filling theaters worldwide, I wanted to explore how VR can be used for more than just gaming, by sharing two experiences that examine the lasting legacy of the fearsome weapon he created. Hi, I'm Christopher, this is the Nerd Corner, and here are two free VR experiences you should try after seeing Oppenheimer. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you see, and comment down below to let me know what you thought of the video. Now, this is going to be a bit different than my normal videos. Instead of focusing on how the gaming landscape is being shaped by the VR tech we all know and love, I want to show how VR can also be a powerful tool for exploring some of the bigger issues affecting the world we live in. I know that may sound a bit dry, but trust me when I say that both of these experiences are definitely worth your time. I'd gone down a bit of a rabbit hole in the lead up to the release of Oppenheimer, learning everything that I could not only about the man, but also the legacy of the nuclear weapons he helped design. This led to me listening to podcasts, watching documentaries, and spending way too much time browsing through Wikipedia. And along the way, I remembered two VR experiences dealing with nuclear weapons that both had a profound impact on me. So I wanted to share those with you and give an example of some of the ways VR is being used for so much more than just gaming. I've got two different apps I'm going to show you today, one of which lets you experience that blast you just saw. We've got one for PC VR and one for MetaQuest headsets, so most of you watching should be able to get your hands on one or both of these free experiences and check them out for yourselves. So, without any further ado, let's start by taking a look at On the Morning You Wake to the End of the World. Just like in many other forms of media, nuclear bombs and nuclear war are a fairly common topic in video games. You've probably either dropped a nuke or seen a nuclear blast in countless games over the years, from first-person shooters to strategy titles. While not quite as common in VR games yet, nukes are a central theme in Fallout 4 VR and have even inspired some incredible worlds in VR chat. If you've come across a nuclear blast in VR before, the odds are as likely as you were descending into Vault 111 at the start of Fallout 4. But over the years, there have also been some great, for lack of a better word, documentary experiences that have been made for VR and move beyond using nuclear weapons as a plot point in a story, and instead examine the real-world effect of these powerful weapons. I first heard about On the Morning You Wake to the End of the World when I was attending the online portion of the Sundance Film Festival's New Frontiers program in 2022. It was one of several VR experiences being displayed at the show that year, and it really stuck with me for quite a while after viewing it. As an aside, I'm currently in the planning stages for a video examining the VR art scene that I'm hoping to release at the end of September. I'll be examining how VR is being used for everything from live theater and music to interactive art pieces and more, and I'll even let you know about a few online festivals where you can check out these sorts of projects for yourself. So stay tuned for that later this fall. Now, back to the matter at hand. On the Morning You Wake to the End of the World is an app for the Quest 2 that was produced in partnership with Princeton University's Science and Global Security program, Games for Change, and Meta's VR for Good initiative, and it tells the story of several individuals who were affected by the false ballistic missile alert that was sent out in Hawaii on January 13, 2018. If you hadn't heard about that incident before, in January of 2018, a ballistic missile alert was accidentally issued for Hawaii, warning residents to seek shelter immediately. This terrifying message went out across the emergency broadcast system and text message alerts to citizens all throughout Hawaii, leading to 38 minutes of terror as people from the islands feared that a nuclear blast could take them out at any second. Eventually, the whole incident was revealed to be the result of a miscommunication as part of a drill, but there was no taking back the fear that had gripped people throughout the state. As someone on the mainland, I remember hearing about this story at the time and thinking about how frightening it would have been to get a message like that, but never really gave it much thought after that until I tried this app. Through some pretty creative use of volumetric video, narration, and computer animation, On the Morning You Wake to the End of the World recounts the stories of several people affected by the Hawaii missile scare, and tells how they responded to the warning that their world was about to end. From a father struggling to find a place to shelter his children from the blast, to a researcher working on global nuclear policy, to a survivor of the Hiroshima bombing who found herself once again living in the shadow of the bomb almost 3/4 of a century later.
If it's coming, it's too late. So I decide I don't want to experience things I did when I was kids. So I don't want to be a survivor anyway.
Each person shares the thoughts, feelings, and fears going through their mind during those terrifying 38 minutes. Interspersed throughout the stories are segments where nuclear policy experts, researchers, and nuclear activists explore the destructive potential of the world's nuclear stockpiles and the consequences of their use. I found one segment in particular where they compare the size and scale of a modern nuclear blast to the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to be particularly eye-opening, and, to be honest, pretty horrifying. The whole experience is spread out over 3 parts, and it'll take you just about a half hour to view all 3. One of the things I found really interesting about On the Morning You Wake to the End of the World, beyond its novel use of VR to present a documentary experience, was that the creators actually researched how viewing content like this affects people, compared to simply watching a video or reading a story. They found that 20% of the people in the screenings they monitored reported feeling more intense emotions than those who watched a flat-screen version of the piece, and that the VR users were more interested in seeking out information and taking action on the topic. I think that experiences like this really show the power of VR, and how it can be used for far more than just gaming. I'll have a link down below to the VR for Good initiative, where you can learn about and download more documentary, educational, and entertainment experiences just like this. The next app we'll be taking a look at is the one you saw during the intro to this video, and this free PC download will let you experience a nuclear bomb blast firsthand. Produced by Tea Time Research with insights from 2 Finnish reporters who traveled to the site in 2018, Perspectives Paradise gives viewers a front row seat to the test of the world's first hydrogen bomb. Detonated in the Eniwetok Atoll in the Pacific Ocean on November 1, 1952, the Ivy Mike explosion was the largest nuclear test conducted to date, and, at the time, the largest explosion the world had ever seen. Released on Steam in 2019, Perspectives Paradise starts with viewers positioned 10 kilometers, or a little over 6 miles away from ground zero. You're able to witness the flash of the blast in the distance before the pressure wave overtakes you, stripping the island you're on bare of vegetation as a massive mushroom cloud begins to billow high into the skies above you. This is an early VR experience, so while it's not the most graphically stunning thing you'll see this year, it definitely does a good job of showing the awe and terror of witnessing a nuclear blast up close. Despite being 4 years old at this point, Perspectives Paradise does a great job of blending 360 video with the CG effects of the blast, resulting in a surprisingly immersive experience. As someone who watched Trinity and Beyond countless times over the years, which is a documentary about the history of nuclear testing that I'll link in the comments below, it was kind of awe-inspiring to be able to see a recreation of one of those blasts up close. It made me think of when I went to the Atomic Testing Museum in Las Vegas a few years back, and had the opportunity to speak to a retired soldier who witnessed a nuclear bomb test in the 1950s. While obviously not the same as the real thing, the experience in Perspectives Paradise matches up pretty well with how he described the spectacle of a nuclear blast. After watching the Ivy Mike explosion, Perspectives Paradise presents users with more information about the blast, as well as other tests conducted on the atoll over the years. Through a mix of archival footage and supplementary info, you're able to dive into the short but violent history of nuclear testing in the area. As a huge history geek, I really like this feature of the app, because it gives you much more context behind the spectacle you see when you first load into the program. I found that being able to view Eniwetok Atoll from the air did a good job of illustrating just how much devastation was wrought on the islands by the countless explosions that took place there. Perspectives Paradise also explores the lasting legacy of nuclear testing on the region, beyond just the gaping holes in the sand blasted out by the bombs. While nuclear weapons testing on the atoll ceased in 1958, during the 10 years the site was active, it played home to a total of 43 nuclear blasts. It wasn't until the 1970s that the U.S. military began decontamination efforts in the area, which resulted in over 100,000 cubic yards of contaminated soil and debris from the islands being buried inside a bomb crater beneath a massive concrete dome. Even after all of that effort, though, a report by the U.S. Congressional Research Service doesn't project that the bulk of the atoll will be fit for human habitation until nearly 2030. After a short interactive segment puts you on top of the dome covering the radioactive remnants of testing on the island and explains how the cleanup process was intended to work, 360 videos let you explore the day-to-day life of residents who still live and work in the surrounding area. These videos aren't interactive like the other parts of the experience, but they do a good job of showing how people have managed to persevere and thrive in the area, even as they live with the lasting effects of the bombs and the mountain of nuclear waste still stored on the islands. I found that Perspectives Paradise makes a great companion piece to On the Morning You Wake to the End of the World, especially since it covers some of the nuclear testing that's referenced in the latter experience. Taken together, I think the two experiences provide a broader perspective on the whole complicated legacy of nuclear weapons than could be found just by watching a documentary or reading an article. I know this video was a bit more serious than most of the content you see on this channel, but I hope you found it enlightening, or at least entertaining. As much as I love VR gaming, I honestly think some of the most interesting things being done with the tech are happening outside of the gaming space. Don't get me wrong, I'll never get tired of being able to fully immerse myself in a high-end VR game, but I also love seeing how artists, filmmakers, researchers, and others are using the tech to find whole new ways to tell stories and teach us about the world. I hope you find these experiences interesting, and I'd love to know what you think about them down in the comments below if you get a chance to try them out. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm planning on releasing an in-depth video exploring the VR art scene later this fall, where I'll have plenty more free experiences like this to recommend. For now though, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me talk about two experiences that I found to be really interesting and impactful. If you liked the video, don't forget to click like, it really does help out the channel, and share and subscribe to keep up to date with all my new content. I'll have a link to my Patreon in the description below, where you can help support me as I make new videos for as little as $1 a month, and even get copies of my scripts, outlines, and research for each video, as well as early access. For those of you who don't have a Patreon account, I've also got YouTube membership options available now. No matter how you choose to support the channel though, whether that's with a few dollars a month, or just letting me know how you like it down in the comments, you have my sincere thanks. Thanks again so much for stopping by. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your morning, your afternoon, your evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. I know you have a lot of choices on how you spend that time, so I really do appreciate you choosing to spend some of it here with me in the Nerd Corner. See you soon. I've learned that I have to do this serious face at the end of the video, because otherwise, and you can see it if you go back to my early videos, it's see you soon, and I look away right away, and so I have to cut immediately. I think that went well. We'll see when I edit. The microphone was facing the right way.